Hey guys, and welcome to episode 49 of How I Made My First $1 Million. Today we are looking at the numbers from October 1st, 2024, so let's dive in. All right, balance sheet. Assets coming in at 75,000 and change. Those are down about 2,000 from last month. Liabilities, zero? What? Is that right? That can't be right. Yes, it is right. No more liabilities. Paid off all my debts. Yes, feels really good. So, of course, the net worth is the same as the assets, and hopefully it stays that way for a while. Not looking to pick up any more debts. So, yeah, feels super good. I will elaborate as we go. So, looking at the assets in particular, cash is down because I did spend quite a chunk to pay off the outstanding debt. Gold up a little bit, Bitcoin up a little bit, Kiva basically unchanged. And yeah, looking at these liabilities, I used to have student loan debt. Now I do not. So yeah, that feels pretty good. It actually, like when I made the final payment, it was anticlimactic. Like it was just click, click. And it was like, okay. And the payment didn't process until the next day. And like I didn't like celebrate or feel appreciably different. But when I ultimately, on the first of the month, which was 2 weeks after the fact, when I updated the balance sheet and the liabilities, and I changed that number 15,000 to zero, I hit like zero, enter, and then it hit me. I was like, whoa, it's a zero now. So yeah, not really a big feeling when I made the final payment, but roughly 2 weeks later, that's when it started to hit me. So it feels good. All right, let's keep going. Let's look at the chart. So I added some circles here, which are basically the 1 year or the annual anniversaries, because we started this journey 4 years ago this month. It was October of 2020, and this here is October of 2021, and October of 2022. October of 2023, and where we are today, October of 2024. So you can see it's been a roller coaster. It's been up and down some more, and then back up. So the net change from 4 years ago, we went from 26,000 to 75,000. So not even a $50,000 increase. Not less than $50,000 in 4 years. That is like painfully slow. That's like, yeah, that's basically $1,000 a month. Yeah, 48 months difference, 48,000, $1,000 a month. However, 1 year ago was, I believe, the lowest net worth of the entire journey. 25.9, 25.5. Yeah, 25.9. I think this was the lowest, certainly of the 4 years, but I'm trying to think of even before this, if I've ever been lower than that. Well, when I first graduated college, I was like 30,000 in debt. But then again, I probably would I have had 4,000 in assets? I don't know. Maybe I could go back and try to figure that out, but not sure. Anyways, so this was the lowest point 1 year ago, 12 months ago. And from negative 25,000 to positive 75,000, that's a swing of positive $100,000 in a year. Positive $100,000 in a year, especially starting negative. That feels very significant to me. But then the overall journey, looking at 4 years, feels like not that impressive to me. But anyways, this early increase is very promising. It kind of shows potential. So anyways, I'm very excited about the journey as a whole. And, I think the 4 years has been very exciting. Let's keep rolling. Income statement. What do we got? Well, revenues were not as high. I mentioned last month I got that extra payment. Like a lot of payments hit in the same month, but not so much this time around. In fact, this is actually a little smaller than it should have been. So I think next month it's going to be a little bit higher. Anyway, but eventually it should smooth out. It should just be 2 payments of the same amount every single month. So eventually this is going to smooth out. But because I just transitioned from being a contractor to a W-2 employee, there's like bumps until it gets ironed out. So anyways, we'll get there. Not that exciting. Expenses. Expenses went up, but the biggest reason is definitely the debt. Like, $8,800 instead of $4,100. A lot of expenses on debt. Look at this. Loans received, debt payment. We can drill down here. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Okay, federal student loans. So I paid off all my federal student loans, dollar for dollar, like everything that I owed to the federal government, because they don't settle. So I paid every dollar I was supposed to there, every dollar I borrowed, plus interest. But then on the private side, the total amount that I had borrowed was, with interest and whatever, is like 11,900. I thought it was going to be 11,500, but it was 11,900 because some interest had accumulated and I wasn't really keeping track of that. So out of that 11,900, I only paid 46.13 to settle it. So that's like roughly 38.5 cents on the dollar. I forget exactly what it was. This divided by 11,900, something like that. Yeah, 38.7, 38.8 cents on the dollar. Sounds about right. So that means the difference there of 7,000 and change was just like an automatic increase in my net worth once I settled, because that liability disappeared without, having to lower my assets in order to pay it off. So that's awesome. Feels amazing. Feels very good. Any other changes from the month? Nothing worth commenting on. Travel and adventure went down a lot. Didn't buy any Bitcoin or any other investments. So, okay. Otherwise, that pretty much explains the difference. Spent more paying off debt. Awesome. Cash flows. Operating cash flow, much lower. So, yeah, made less from employment. Spent less on purchases, right? But it's that debt piece, that financing piece that was the bulk of it. Paid $500 in taxes. Those are quarterly payments because I was a contractor. So I set up auto payments for $500 per quarter to come out of my bank account to go to the federal government. That way I don't have any penalties for not paying those quarterly tax payments. I mean, what a racket. It's just such a pain in the butt. But anyways, doesn't matter. That's income taxes for the 2024 season that I just won't have to pay later because I'm paying them now. Awesome. Investing, well, nothing happened there, so there's really nothing to look at. Financing, again, this is the big difference, paying off all the debt. So that is the reason for the flows. Okay, awesome. That's cash flows. Yeah, so lost a lot of cash. I mean, that's kind of the big takeaway. Cash position dropped a lot because I paid off debt. So nothing surprising there. Updates. I'm still relending on Kiva until I reach the 99th percentile. But good news, I just hit $10,000 in total lending, and I included a snapshot of my Kiva portfolio right here. $10,000 total amount lent. And yeah, my last batch of loans, I purposely structured in such a way so I would hit exactly $10,000 and exactly 300 loans made. So just some nice round numbers there. And I've loaned to people in 70 different countries. And this is lifetime. This is over, 4 years. I'm not really sure how long I've been doing this, but I'm still in the 98th lending percentile. So I'm really pushing that 99th percentile. I want to be in the top 1% of donors. And I've mentioned this before. I don't know if they count it by dollars or by loans, but it really has to be one or the other. It wouldn't make sense to do it formulaically as a combination of the two. So anyways, I'm just going to keep lending. I'm debt free. It's so weird to say that. Yeah, as of September 18th, that's my debt free day. I mean, technically the payment hit the next day, but 9/18, that's my debt free anniversary. Feels good. Okay, I'm going to skip most of this stuff, but I will mention that I've been lifting weights almost every day and either running on a treadmill or riding a stationary bike most days. And the reason I mention this is because I've noticed how big of an effect the weather has on me. It's the rainy season in Florida, and it's difficult to do things outside. Like any grass field, a ball field, a diamond, or whatever, is like soaking wet. You can't play on it most days, most of the time. So that's kind of annoying. Yeah, because I'm used to growing up in New York where there's not that much rain in the fall, and if there is, it drains fairly quickly, and then you can play on the field again. So being in Florida, especially during hurricane season, and Hurricane Helene just came through, it's a lot tougher. It's like if I want to do anything really in the summer or the fall down here, it's pretty much got to be indoors, which is a little annoying. if I'm being honest. So this sort of makes a compelling case in my mind to stay in New York or somewhere where the weather is more conducive to outside sports later into the season, later into the calendar year, maybe until end of October. That makes sense. So anyways, it's something I think about almost every day. Like, man, I wish I could spend more time outside, but it's soaking wet, or it's raining, or there's a thunderstorm coming in 10 minutes or whatever. So kind of a weird thing to mention, but it's top of mind, and it really does affect what I do and what I don't do. Other things, I did finish a couple books this month, Hijacking Bitcoin and Layered Money. Good books. I mean, not bad. I'm not sure if I agree with the central thesis of Hijacking Bitcoin. Mostly it's a story, but it's like a history with like a call to action. And I agree with all the history, but I don't agree with the call to action. I think he builds it on false premises. Anyways, Layered Money. I kind of like the way it's more of like a lens of how to view money in layers. I like that. I've been thinking about it for a while because I've heard him talk on podcasts and other things. So his ideas have been in my mind for a few years, but I finally got around to reading the book. And it was interesting. It was a short book. Yeah, I guess I don't have much else to say about it. How am I thinking? How am I feeling? And what am I doing? Well, it feels awesome to get that last debt payment made. And really what I'm thinking is like, in terms of an analogy to like any kind of video game and even like a lot of board games, almost any game can be like split into like 3 phases at a minimum. Sometimes I guess it's only 2, and sometimes it's more than 3. But anyways, there's really like 3 general phases, like the early game, the mid game, and the late game, which sound kind of obvious, but like if you play chess, there's like the opening, the middle game, and the end game. Okay, and if you play like Minecraft, there's like the early game, and I guess there's a mid game and a late game, definitely, and so on, right? So in terms of real life, I feel like I just finished the early game. That's what I feel like. Like I did this sort of grindy tasks that aren't really fun, but you kind of have to do them so you can like learn the rules of the game, you learn the controls, you learn how it all works, and you do all the fundamentals. And it's kind of not that fun. It's like just fun enough that you're like willing to keep doing it. But then the mid game usually is like way more fun, way more exciting. It's kind of like sexier. You can do like more flashy things, more fun things, maybe take more risks. And I feel like life is about to be like that. So I'm just sort of like letting that sink in. I'm in like a consolidation period. It might last a few months where I'm just sort of like feeling that out and letting the transition happen. So it's really exciting, and that's how I'm like thinking and feeling. And I'm just sort of waiting. So what I'm going to be doing besides like working and reading these books and not really playing that many sports outside, but working out, is just sort of, buying a bit more gold, silver, and Bitcoin, waiting for the US election, waiting for things to shake out, waiting to see how it feels with this sort of like new reality where I don't have any monthly debt payments. Just see how it feels, and then go from there, and then come up with like another plan that's more proactive instead of reactive, right? Where I can sort of like lean into something that I want to do instead of being back on my heels, having this sort of like defensive mentality in terms of how I spend my time every day. Because that's kind of how I've been feeling for a lot of years, where it's like, all right, just don't get behind, or don't get any more behind than I currently am, or like don't fall off the treadmill, or just don't let your head fall below water. Well, that's done now. So now I can, be more active, lean forward, be more proactive. So it's very exciting. So I think that is all I have for this month. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next month.